Thank you for tuning into another episode of Take 10 on Tuesdays with the Tennessee Tribune. I'm Jason Luntz. This week, I'm very excited to introduce a very close friend of mine who is an inspiration as a creative entrepreneur and a great businessman. Today I have Timothy Bond here. How are you?
How you doing?
All right, great to have you.
It's great to be here.
It's great to be here. Yeah, we're back in the Tribune, and I wanted to have you here actually in our library because what he does is publish books.
Oh, I see the twist here.
You saw the twist, right? I brought it together.
Right.
Now, Timothy is the owner of True Vine Publishing, which is a publishing company here in Nashville, Tennessee. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay, now, I want to know if first you can kind of tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start your own publishing company.
Well, I have always had a desire to write. Even as a kid, I recall having a little pen and pad and scribbling like I was writing in cursive.
Wow.
and so there came a point in time where I had just a library full of poems that I had written, and I knew that I wanted to be a published author. I did some research on publishing, in the publishing industry, and I just realized, I didn't want to go through the rejection. I didn't want to go through the time factor of finding a publisher. I didn't want to go through trying to find an agent. And, my parents were entrepreneurs in the city, and so I've always had an entrepreneurial background, upbringing. And so, it was just second nature for me to say, why go to another company to publish my book when I can publish it myself?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and so what had happened was when I put the book out, part of my study showed that bookstores and people in general had a very bad outlook on self-published books. They felt like it was low quality.
Okay.
And so what I did was I created True Vine Publishing Company, basically as a front, or just to give my book some credibility. I had really no real idea of how far it would go, but really, I had created the company as a front to give my book more credibility with bookstores. Also, because I have worked in the publishing industry, since coming out of college, and I had the connections, I had the resources, and I had the knowledge of what a book should look like.
Oh, okay.
And so I created a very quality book, and afterwards people began to come to me and ask me to produce their books as well.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. That was some great information. So, basically, you were going to go the self-publishing route. Well, you went the self-publishing route,
right,
which has gained a lot of popularity. And what year was this?
This was in 2004.
Now, in 2004... self-publishing was just really starting to be something that people could do because of the internet, right?
Well, self-publishing has always been around. I mean, all of the great authors that we know of were self-published first. And many people don't realize that, or we don't appreciate the fact that, most of the people who are famous that we know of, including Stephen King, including Eric Jerome Dickey, all of these people self-published first, and then once they built their credibility, the major publishing companies jumped on them.
So that was the way a lot of people, rather than what we hear about sending your transcript to a random company,
right?
These people actually made some noise in the industry on their own first.
Right. That was the first thing they did,
Okay, so you were following that path, and as self-publishing became more available, rather than just be another one of the many people,
right,
you decided to start your own publishing company.
Right. Instead of just trying to sell books, I inadvertently created a new stream of income. So I was not only selling my own book, but then I became a publisher and started selling other people's books.
Now, walk me through, because we talk about business a lot here at Take 10, and I know people always want to know, how do they find out what business will be good for them? In this case, it's something you loved writing,
right,
and you created this.
Right.
Now, walk me through, how did the first client come to you, or how did you publish the book for someone else the first time?
Well, it was amazing because I actually did a self-published magazine as well, and I told that story. It was one of my wife's best friend. After I produced my book, she had a bunch of poems as well, and she came to me and she wanted me to publish her book. The funny thing about it is I was so afraid, to step into this business arena, because I'd never asked anybody to pay me for a service.
Yes.
So I was so intimidated by that I almost wound up helping her pay for her book.
Someone else.
Right.
You're like, let me walk you through how I did it.
Right, yeah. And I was like, you know what, I'll just help you. Luckily, she, because she was a friend, she didn't take advantage of me. And that was really my first lesson in entrepreneurship. And, because she did give me that opportunity to work with her, I was able to grow from there. So, really just, it was a friend of the family. I published her book. And then the next book that came, which has revolutionized the business, and this is really amazing how things work out. A guy at my church wanted to help a young lady who was 14 years old produce her poetry. Mm-hmm. So I produced her poetry for her. He paid for everything for her. Her book went to New York, and someone she knew, actually she didn't even know the person, somehow her book went to New York, and from New York it spread like wildfire.
Really? Wow.
And I often refer to them as my New York connection. From New York, a great deal of business has come through to True Vine, and from those connections in New York, True Vine has actually gone international with authors in Jamaica, authors in Australia, and of course it has gone throughout the U.S. as well.
So how many books in this time period has True Vine published?
True Vine has published 45 books.
Oh, wow.
Officially under the True Vine brand, but I've also published multiple books or produced multiple books. So that's what I love about what I do.
Okay.
I work with people, helping them produce books.
So you can produce books that don't necessarily have to be labeled as True Vine,
right.
But if someone needs actual production, they can go
right.
for you as well.
Right, exactly. And
so
that's really the crux of what I do.
That's great. Now, everybody has a great American novel in them, it seems like.
Uh-huh.
Well, a lot of people want to write, and I think that's great.
Right.
I love that nowadays people have easier access, and even though Stephen King and them were doing it one time, now it's so much easier. You can just go online.
Oh, yeah.
But I say they rather go through you
right.
than those other options. But, so what I was wondering is, what are some of the struggles, because you're an author as well, mm-hmm. What are some of the struggles you see authors going through, writers have to deal with?
Well, there are two struggles or challenges that I see. One is external, one is internal.
Okay.
The external is we're in a rapidly changing industry. With multimedia, you have books on tape now, or books on audio, you have ebooks, you have blogs. So what is happening is the hard copy or paperback book sales are diminishing. Mm. Statistically, ebook sales have increased 43%, while hardback and hard copy books have decreased 34%. So what that means for an author who wants to produce a paperback book is less money, actually, because I can sell a hard copy book for $10, but we all know ebooks are going for 99 cents.
Yeah, true.
Now, if you don't have a very broad audience or a vast audience, then you're not going to sell a lot more as you should. Now, that also offers the opportunities for us, and this is where the internal struggle or the internal challenge comes in, and that is authors. I see authors are not properly studying the industry and understanding the industry, and in particular understanding sales. And so, if you don't get a proper understanding of how to sell a product, even if it's books, no matter what it is, but if you don't get a proper understanding of how to sell a product, then you're not going to see very much success, and that's causing a lot of frustration.
Okay.
So one of the things I'm trying to do with TrueVine is offer more education. So I'm doing blogging, and I'm doing the meetup groups, and we were blessed to have you come out and speak to us at our meetup group.
That was fun.
But things like that to help people understand what this industry is about and how to be successful in it.
So it sounds like to me that the artist, the author that wants to get their words out there, that dealing with TrueVine means that they're getting a full service company.
They are getting a full service company, and they're also getting a partner.
Okay.
I used to say that, I used to call my clients partners, and one of my mentors talked me out of that. But I still feel that my clients are partners, and the reason I say this is because I work with them one-on-one. That's the one thing that you don't get with the average company. You don't have someone to walk with you hand in hand, to give you information, to give you advice, and to help you. I spend the first 2 hours of my day, once the day gets going and, business hours, 8 o'clock, first 2 hours of my day basically coaching clients.
Wow.
I have my partners giving me a call, asking for more information and help, advice on different routes to take. And I love doing that, and that's what I get out of this company.
Man, that's really good. I mean, that's a benefit right there, as opposed to trying to just print it yourself.
All right.
It's like going through you can make them look official, and they have a partner that understands the industry, understands the external and internal factors.
And you understand, and also having someone who knows the business. I mean, you may want to be an author, but you don't want to be a publisher.
That's right.
So you don't want to learn how to become a publisher. You don't need to know that.
Yes. Yes.
You may be, a lot of the more successful writers now are public speakers. They already have an audience. They already have a platform. They just need that product. They don't have time to become the publisher
as well. Yes. So you're definitely on the lines. I always talk about that people do better off when they focus on what their talent, their craft is, and allow others to help them. Right. And by using good services, you can focus and do a better job on what you call for.
Yeah, I always tell people in my initial consultations, I work for you. If you were a corporation, TrueVine would be your publishing department on the basement. That's
great.
That would be just give us a call. Hey, I need more books. Hey, I need editing. That's what we do. And so you can focus on you. I work for you.
That's great. Now I had another question I wanted to ask you was, as a business owner here in Middle Tennessee, how do you feel about the business environment in Nashville, and how do you feel about all the changes that are happening here in the city?
Well, Nashville is one of the fastest growing cities in the United States.
I say it all the time.
It is.
It is.
So that is that means we have a harvest here, and you can take advantage of any opportunity. Mm-hmm. Whereas we have cities that are going bankrupt. But here we're growing. Mm-hmm. So in the land of America, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to, see your dreams come true. And so, I'm just a person, man. Right now, I truly understand that there's nothing that we can't have. There's nothing that we can't do. And so, if you're in an opportunity where you have fertile ground, and mm-hmm. you can begin your process. You can begin your company. In a city like Nashville, there's nothing you shouldn't be able to do.
Oh, that I couldn't have said it better myself.
I'm telling you.
And I feel the same way, and that's why when I meet people like you and other business owners, it continues to excite me about the future of the city.
Yeah, we're growing leaps and bounds. We just put up the new convention center, which is going to bring in more business and more people from around the country.
Oh, yes.
And so,
yes.
As a business person, you have to keep in mind every person that you walk by is a potential customer.
Wow.
Particularly as an author.
Mm.
As an author, every person you walk by is a potential customer. So to give you an example, when I put out my book, Fall in Love with the Struggle, I went down to Tennessee State University and I just walked the campus, simply asked, would you be interested in buying my book? So I sold $50 worth of books. Now that's $50 I would not have had.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's 5 customers that I never would have met.
That's right.
Had I decided that I'm not going to approach anyone unless I'm having a specific book signing or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So everyone who comes into the city is business. And we have to start thinking like that. As authors, we have to think every event that goes on in town is potential business.
Yeah.
So to be in a place like Nashville where you have an influx of people coming in, that means that's just more business for you.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great. I mean, and that's true. And definitely, I can definitely see the advantage of people working with you because you have the guerrilla marketing ideas as well.
Right.
Now, before I let you go, I definitely would like to show, this is your second book.
Yes.
Written by Timothy Bond and published by True Vine Publishing.
All right.
Fall in Love with the Struggle, Making the Best of Life's Worst. This is a really good book and definitely has a lot of inspirational words in it. Now, where can people find your books, you as an author, and where can people get information about publishing?
Well, you can find my book on my website, truevinepublishing.org. That's www.truevinepublishing.org. Also, I have a blog spot, which is www.timothyoBond.com. That's timothyoBond.com. You can learn about publishing on my website as well. And definitely give me a send me a personal email, and I'll be happy to talk with you about your goals and your future projections on your book.
All right, that's great. Once again, I'm just really excited that you came here today, and I wanted to share this. This was some really good ideas, and I wish you all the luck out here in Nashville.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, man, anytime. And once again, you've been watching Take 10 on Tuesday with the Tennessee Tribune. See you next time.